Hi everyone, welcome to this week's Ask AJ. And the sun is shining, which is always a good thing. I'm not really sure why I've decided today to wear a jacket because it's actually quite hot up here. But anyway, it's nice that the sun's out and I hope everyone had a fantastic Easter weekend. So today I'm going to talk to you about sort of the three key reasons why it's important that your agent conducts your house viewings. So it's a question that's cropping up quite a lot at the moment because, touch wood, we're seeing a lot more stock coming to market and we're meeting a lot of new clients, which is lovely. And obviously a discussion that comes up on the first meeting is about viewings and how that works and the arrangements that go on for conducting those viewings. So, I mean, the three main kind of reasons why we would suggest that you get your agent to actually carry out the viewings as opposed to doing them yourself is firstly mainly because you want your viewers to feel comfortable while they're having the viewing. So often, and I've seen this kind of happen myself actually, because it does sort of come up that sometimes homeowners are there in the house while a viewing takes place, and have actually witnessed, viewers kind of tiptoe around a room or around a house, and they generally feel quite uncomfortable. At the end of the day, you've got some random people coming into a home and it's full of lots of personal belongings and it's a family house. So already people can feel a bit uncomfortable going around somebody else's house, even though they're there with the intention of potentially, buying that house for them in the future. But there and then, that is somebody else's home. So to have owners either walking around or even sat in one of the rooms can come across a bit uncomfortable. And they'll tend to want to whisper and move quite quickly throughout the house. So the idea of having an agent actually carry out your viewing is to ensure that those viewers are going to spend the most time possible in that house. So really getting a feeling for it, getting the vibe, making sure they're taking everything in, looking out the windows, and really getting a feel for what it would be like to live there, as opposed to feeling like, we need to whiz around and quickly move on to the next room. So it really is important that they have that opportunity to, spend as much time as possible looking in what potentially is their next forever home that they plan to live in the future. So, you really want to make sure that they have that opportunity. So the second point why it is important again for an agent to carry out the viewing is to ensure really that you get honest feedback. So we do have the rare occurrence, and it is rare, that owners might have to carry out their own viewings. It could be that our team are just fully booked and we've got a viewer and they can only go that day, and it's really important that we get them in, or potentially the house is a lot further afield, and it might be that the owners have agreed to do the odd viewing if it's here and there. But what tends to happen is you'd get false feedback, as I call it, and other people might call it something else, and that's basically the case where, like most people, you want to be polite, and more often than not, if a owner of the house is conducting the viewing, the viewers are going to maybe not be as honest as they would be with an agent. So what can happen is they can tell the owners of the house that it's fantastic, it ticks all the boxes, it's lovely, they think it's great. But then subsequently, when our team or your agent's team, whoever's selling your house, calls those viewers post-viewing for more detailed feedback and to follow up on the viewing, that's when you actually get the honest feedback. So it might be, actually the kitchen was wrong and we didn't like the layout, or it was too noisy or whatever. But then it's a very hard phone call to have with the owners of the house, who think that it's gone really well and it's really positive, and they might think they're going to get an offer or whatever, to then relay to them that actually on reflection the house wasn't right for those viewers. So it can actually cause quite an emotional roller coaster for you as a seller to do it yourself, because of this false feedback that you get on a viewing. So if it's obviously the agent carrying it out, it's more likely that your viewer might talk about, actually we'd knock that wall down, we'd make that space bigger, and we don't really like that bathroom suite, so that would come out. But it gives them the opportunity to talk about the potential of the house and what they could do to it, and again envisage what they could do to it, as opposed to not really having the opportunity because they don't want to offend the homeowner. So they're like the key points why it's important for the agent to do the viewings. But again, just from today, myself and Hannah were out meeting a new client, and we were talking about conducting the viewings, and he was a bit concerned about will we know all the the key aspects to the house, and you know, the brand new electric car charging port, and where the boiler is and when's it serviced and all this kind of thing. So, you know, it is important that as an agent that you have all that information to hand. So we create very detailed viewing notes for each house we bring on. Hannah or Maria or a client executive, or potentially myself, will spend time with each client and sort of get all that information. They'll walk around the whole house, learn it, get to know its history and all the information that surrounds it. So even though a lot of that isn't always listed on the actual like Rightmove portal listing or in the brochure, it's information that you need on hand. You know, there's nothing worse than going for a viewing and not having the answers to the majority of questions. And don't be wrong, there's always some that you might not have the answer to, which potentially an owner would. But as long as you can answer the majority of that information, I think, you know, it would come across as a much more positive experience. So it's important that even though you're not doing your viewings, you share as much information about your house as possible to those that will be doing the viewing. And the other thing we try and do is make sure that anybody that's actually going to conduct the viewings has been to the house. So whether that's just to have a quick sort of recce visit, whether it's the team that were there for the day of the photo shoot, or anything like that, it's great if somebody's already seen the house. Another thing we try and do is sort of walk through videos, so if we haven't quite had the opportunity for somebody to view it, at least they've got an idea of where everything is, what door opens what, you know, where the boiler is, that kind of thing. So, you know, to try and make sure we're as knowledgeable as possible. Because obviously as an owner of the home, particularly if you've been there for many, many years, you are going to be the expert you know, person that knows the most about that house. And we can get why, you know, a lot of people feel that they would want to do their own, but there is a contrast to that and the negative points that I mentioned before. But, you know, they can easily be overcome, like any challenge. And what we'd probably recommend, if anything else, is if you've got a viewer that wants to come back for a second viewing, fingers crossed, that then, you know, more than happily, it sometimes is nice actually and a benefit to have the homeowner there to answer any more of those detailed questions. And also create that emotional connection between buyer and seller. So first viewings, leave it to your agent, let them do it, make sure your viewers are comfortable, honest feedback, and can spend as much time there as possible, and then maybe for a second viewing, stick around. So that's our main reasons why it's important for your agent to do your viewings. And we look forward to chatting to you next week on the next Ask AJ, and hopefully the sun will still be out, and look forward to talking to you then. Okay, bye for now.